Beautiful day. I am the Oracle Empress, and it is presently Friday, March 27th, 2026. We are broadcasting live from the Empress Network at empressblack.com. According to our astroscope today, our moon phase is first quarter, and it's 50% illuminated in the sign of Gemini. In regards to this current phase's emotional influences, you might feel reflective, calm, and slightly introspective as if the world is holding its breath with you. There's a gentle sense of possibility and a quiet excitement for what's to come. Support your manifestations by beginning to write down a few clear, small intentions, just a sentence or two, so you have a compass for the days ahead. Pair each intention with a simple daily ritual like a brief meditation or a mindful breath to keep the energy focused. This energy is best for initiating new projects or habits, setting personal or professional goals, and releasing old patterns or habits. All right, phenomenal day. I had to switch things up a little bit today because yesterday when I decided to send out the replay, distribute it on the different platforms that I'm on, my phone just started going off. And at that time, I was already at work with a client and all that. But it was just an interesting observation because it was like, okay, they thought I was live and they wanted to make sure that they interrupted my live, whoever are. But, I was like, okay, well, we're going to switch it up a little bit today. So, anywho, I trust, hope, and pray that wherever you are in the world, that you are well, mind, body, and spirit. That is so important for all of us. It is a beautiful Friday, March 27th, 2026. And as you heard in that astroscope, it's a beautiful time to be alive if you choose to align with and embrace that energy. Okay. So we're going to start out with a soul cards lesson. And because this is Friday, this is taking us into our weekend reading. I'm going to make it pretty in depth. I'm undecided if I'm going to continue into, doing the readings like this next week. I'm not sure yet what's going to happen next week. We have to see how the weekend goes. But I have a lot to do this weekend on my calendar. And my calendar for next week is already filling up as well. So, with that being said, by Sunday, I'll have everything, you know, for the most part, updated within our Empress tools, where you'll be able to see, you know, what's on its itinerary as far as readings for next week. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into this energy. Yesterday's reading was something else, wasn't it? If you know, you know. If you haven't, listened to that one yet, I encourage you to go and, check out that replay. Like I'm not known to be that kind of reader. Some people would consider me more of like a love and light type reader, even though I could be with the shits, because the life that I live and what I come from and what I've seen, I know what I know. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot. I ain't gonna say I've seen it all, but I've seen a lot and enough. But I choose, to focus more on the positive, the light, the present, the healing, so forth. But people ask for it, my nerves, and then you realize, like, oh, okay, maybe I should have done that. My bad. Okay, look at this. Okay. This is some reflection, mirroring energy. Okay. I'm getting more like maybe Cancerian or Pisces energy, more water energy. Mommy Watson was definitely a theme this week, okay? I shared, some things on the Empress Network in our on our mother wheel on the home page from the beautiful Black Witch Yaya. She did a very beautiful video breaking down, who Mommy Watsa is, what her energy represents, etc. But I'm being reminded of that here with this energy. Someone is doing some sort of deep soul healing work. They're deep in their emotions, trying not to drown in them. And, from what I'm seeing, they look like they may have a good handle on it, but if it becomes too much for them to handle alone, they should potentially seek, professional assistance or guidance from someone who specializes in working with people and working through their trauma, emotional pain, and so forth, if they're not necessarily that evolved in the realm of emotional intelligence, where they need a little assistance, which is okay, because as great of human beings as we can be at whatever it is that we're good and great at, sometimes, there's different in certain areas of our lives where we may not be as strong. And there are others that, can assist us. For instance, I'm a beast when it comes to, hair care and styling, growing hair. People say I got growing hands and all that type of stuff. So when it comes to that type of work, that's me. But if it comes to something like auto related business, like I'm going to seek a professional, mechanic shop or whatever to manage that type of work, because that ain't for me. Even though my uncle tried to teach me when I was younger how to do basic things like change the oil and all that. Listen, I guess it's good to have the basic knowledge and understanding just in case, so people won't rip me off when I have to go to professionals to get that type of stuff done. But that ain't my lane. So the same thing with this energy here. If you need a healthy mirror, I'll say, someone that is not necessarily going to, judge you, or they have an unbiased opinion of your situation. You know, they could be a trustworthy source to help you bring the things to the surface that need to be brought to the surface to assist in your releasing it responsibly, healing and letting go. Then, that should be considered like therapy, counseling, and specialists in those arenas. Yesterday, we did have the Crystal Oracle that came out addressing addiction and, the importance of not suppressing emotions and so forth. Because a lot of times we look at illnesses, disease, dis-ease, sickness and so forth as a physical burden or challenge or experience, when in many cases, when you learn better over time, if you do that type of work and research, a lot of those things actually start from an emotional mental space, and they show up in the form of physical illness or aches or pains or things of the sort. Okay. So when we ignore and we're afraid to address, matters of the heart, things that hurt us, things that disappointed us, sometimes when we were children, from our loved ones or guardians and so forth, traumatic experiences, and we carry that on through life, through different cycles and seasons and never release it. It a lot of times, grows in our bodies as things like tumors or, just trauma points that can lead to like pain and disease and things of the sort. Okay. So when we say do the work, that's what we are talking about. Doing the inner work. Some people are a little bit more advanced, which are like spiritual guides and teachers and people who are like connected to the divine source. They're able in many cases to do the work independently and ask themselves, the questions that, most people run from. They're able to look in the mirror, like go to a mirror in their homes and just stare in it and, be honest with themselves about what they see, what they like, what they dislike, and what work they could potentially do holistically to, correct what needs to be corrected. Okay. A lot of times, unfortunately, people will opt for, non-holistic solutions. If we're looking at surface level things, like surgeries and cosmetic surgeries and so forth. But the truth of the matter are, like, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like, people will look at me, whether it's with or without, my hair and makeup and all that type of stuff done, dress nice and all that type of stuff. And some people feel like I'm beautiful and attractive, with some don't. It doesn't matter to me. It's how I feel about me is what really matters. That's where I'm at in life. But also, when I was younger, when there were things about me that made me feel less confident, like before I got braces and corrected my smile a little bit better, when I, like, my diet was trash and had my hormones out of whack as a teenager, and I had really bad acne, my skin, that was something that I was able to correct once I learned better and did better, made better choices. And then with the braces, also doing my part outside of what the orthodontist did, and that cost them what it cost. Making sure that I cared for my oral health, maintaining and taking care of it and so forth. Um, but also like just my body. Like I've gone through changes with my weight fluctuating, being heavier at times and being smaller. And, you know, there was a period and season in my life where I felt like I attracted people, men and women were attracted to me because of, my body, how it was shaped and so forth, like my diet, exercise, my hormones was balanced and everything. So that was reflected, and to me, that's always been like superficial stuff. But, other people, they like what they see and so forth, and they're attracted to it. So, with that being said, when it came to my body, yes, I like to look nice in my clothes, but more importantly, I like to feel good and feel strong and be flexible in my body and, just as much optimum health as I can have. That's important to me more than how it looks physically. Um, so what I found though was when I naturally did, the work as far as eating well and exercising, the byproduct of me looking good, my skin being better and healthier and brighter looking with or without makeup, because the makeup just enhances, what's already there, if you're not overdoing it. So I could put makeup on and I'm stressed out, my diet's trash, my skin is out of whack, and I look crazy with the same makeup on. But if I'm resting, I'm hydrating, you know, detoxing and fasting when I need to, all that type of stuff, then when I do enhance, however, everything is going to look better. So I'm saying that to say, we don't have to necessarily go and under the knife and do all these extreme things to look a certain way, to enhance ourselves in certain ways. We could do that if we decide to be more disciplined, more practical, more consistent, more determined, to get the information. A lot of the things that I learned about, maintaining the body and anatomy, like how to achieve certain goals, I did research, I studied. There's so much information out there from like books, lectures on whatever you want to learn. Like for the longest time, I used to, every time a women's health magazine came out, I used to get that when I was like in my early 20s. So hair magazines and women's health magazines were the two that I used to like purchase. And I got that from my grandfather because he loved, like, back in the day, the bathroom was full. We had a basket full of like Jet, Ebony, um, Essence, like those type of black magazines. He loved them. Reader's Digest. He always had some reading material like that around the house. So I picked that up from him. And when I would go pick up my grandmother's prescriptions and stuff like that, I would go and get my magazines. And Women's Health was one. And I used to read them and learn so many things about how to physically exercise the body, but also, be mentally aware and present with what you're doing and maximize your results. Like do things intentional. Like this is something that I learned from a women's health magazine, but now you look online and stuff, you can see the stuff like all over the place, worded differently, but that's the bottom line. So yeah, that's what I got from that. So getting the right tools and information and taking the time to, study and then, applying it in your life, will help you to feel better, look better, and just all around be better. Okay. So on the bottom of the deck here, we have somebody that is embracing, you know, like just where they're at in life. Okay. They are, taking the time to stop and maybe smell the roses. They are embracing and embodying their creative side, their creative energy. They are tapping into their willpower. Um, this red here makes me think that if this is a feminine energy, this could be what, is being done during her menstrual cycle. She's recognizing, the more that she rests and stays still, that, that time of the month is a very powerful, creative, beautiful time when your hormones are balanced, when, you're feeling good, you're not stressed, you're able to relax and be still and just process, the changes that your body is experiencing. A lot of women don't feel like they can afford to give themselves that kind of time because of work and being in survival mode and so forth. But, I learned the importance after a health scare involving, things that came from imbalanced hormones and stress and that type of stuff as a woman that is maturing in age, okay, not getting no younger, that when you're forced, if you want to be healthy, to make some changes and adjust your life and your lifestyle, your work and so forth, where you're able to give yourself that type of love and respect and, just time to just rest and heal and recover, that the benefits are so rewarding that, it kind of balances out throughout the rest of the month. So let's say during your cycle, your body is telling you like you've been in go mode, working hard, all throughout the month, that this is the time that you're supposed to be recuperating your energy and resting and just allowing yourself to naturally detox and release, which is what your body is doing. Um, and with doing, allowing your body to do that naturally, um, when it's over, when that time period is over, you feel more alive, you feel more vibrant, your vitality is, up, you know, your energy is, up, like everything works better. If you feel better, your body, looks better and so forth. So, that comes with a great deal of patience and commitment, and it doesn't happen overnight, especially if you're somebody who's been like working hard, all your life. Okay, like you just been go 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 for so long, you know trying to do everything for everybody and neglecting what you need, on a soul level, on a physical level, um mentally, emotionally, all of that. Like, a lot of times too, we're more emotional around that time and feel like we want to cry more and release because we don't give ourselves that opportunity, any other time. And now it's being forced, So you'll learn a lot once you, um, honor yourself in that way. Okay. That was for the ladies. So that's actually inspiring me to go ahead and move into our African goddess rising. Because if you prioritize, the money, the bag, working income and so forth over your health, a lot of times you'll find that later on you'll be losing that money or using that money to correct, your health and, having to take care of yourself. Like if you would have implemented that into the program of your life, earlier, then you wouldn't have had those problems. That's a real thing. Ask me how I know. These things that we see now, like, the women's health problems that like what is it, PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, fibroids, endometriosis, like those type of reproductive health issues, that a lot of women are seeing. When you do the research, because you go to the medical professionals, and in too many cases they just want to go ahead and put you under the knife and get them organs to do whatever Lord knows what they want to do with them type of stuff, on top of paying their bills. um I ain't gonna do it today. I ain't gonna go that deep that today. Keep it light. um you'll find that when you do your own research, you can find more answers that they're going to give you. Okay. So you'll find out it's very simple things like what I just started sharing, as far as your diet, your lifestyle, taking time to move, to rest your body when you need to, you know, do weight training, cardio, stretching, you know, that type of stuff that are designed for the woman's body to maintain, optimum health or improve, your health and so forth. All right, so we have alchemy and radical rebirth. We have number 38 and number 5. So I'm seeing also, but that's 385. I'm seeing 115. Those are angel numbers that are just coming to me. Okay. So this is that energy of divine feminine, when she is, like I said, taking that time to allow her body to just be in a resting mode, a resting phase, that radical rebirth. You can have a rebirth every month, when you have your cycle, your moon cycle, especially when you're in alignment with your body's, with the actual moon cycle. That's a whole different, level of power, and society, the world that we live in, doesn't want us to know that and wants to keep us disconnected from that, because, that's when we really truly align with our personal power. You recognize just, what you're capable of when your, menstrual cycle is in alignment with this moon cycle in the sky, honey. Next level, okay? Next level. And I'm talking about from a positive, high vibrational, place, not, no manipulative, unhealthy, toxic behavioral stuff, not that. All right, so we have, and that's what this Queen Nefertiti, alchemy energy is what I'm talking about. So what is going on, during that time when the moon is in that phase for you to do that work, okay? When you come back out into the light, into the sun, into the world, and you are just beautiful, graceful, you obtain new levels of wisdom, because that is also a very insightful time that you're able to tap into, the wisdom within, from your ancestors, and so forth, where you can learn a lot about who you truly are, what you come from, what you are here for, what you're capable of, and that just gives you just a whole nother level of just beauty, grace, wisdom, and confidence, okay? Like a Queen Nefertiti right there. So you're able to show up in the world like, yes, I am her. I do this, and I'm not to be played with or mismanaged, any type of way. Okay. You're going to respect me. You're going to respect my energy. You're going to respect my time, you know, my attention. You're not just going to be around me trying to, soak up my energy and attention and you have nothing to offer me. Like, we ain't doing that. That's that energy. It's like I only do balanced, harmonious, reciprocal relationships and connections. I know who I am. I know what value I bring to the world or any given situation, that I choose to be a part of. Oh, wait, okay, because these are energies that, you know, they not just being in any type of relationships, connections, or situations just to be in them. It's like, no, I know exactly who I am, and my self-worth and value are top tier. Okay. So you come correct, don't come at all. I'm cool either way. That energy. And it's an energy that feels like that, despite, you know, surface level stuff. Okay. So let's say if we bring that down to real life, these days and times, things like, you know, let me use finances as a example. Okay. This is an energy that could have nada, nothing, you know, in the bank type of situation. Okay. And they still feel this way about themselves. This is an energy that could be in a place where all they have are rags, no nice wardrobe or clothes. They can't afford to like necessarily do nice things for themselves, like go get beauty treatments, hair, makeup, you know, um, that type of stuff. And they still feel like this about themselves. Okay. That's this energy. Like, I know who I am on a soul level, and it has nothing to do with, you know, the glam, the external things that enhance, who I am and so forth. This could be an energy that is driving a putt putt hoop, barely getting from point A to point B type of thing. But you can't tell them that they're not pushing, whatever luxury vehicle, foreign, whatever, that that's not what they really driving it. Like th- this energy is just like, despite all the superficial stuff, the writings on the wall, have helped me to identify exactly who I am, and I'm not going to let nobody tell me otherwise. All right, we have 41 with celestial alignment, and we have number 2 with cosmic power. We had both of these energies come out earlier this week. Okay. So this is celestial, cosmic. This is, some very powerful energy that divine feminine is definitely becoming aware of. I'm getting a feeling that since I've been tracking the astral scope and the moon phase and so forth, I've been, I did that a while back because I used to do two like real in-depth readings a month, which was the new moon and full moon readings. But the haters and the people that want to block me from doing this work, were a little successful because I was just like, I'm so tired of the interruptions where I just let it go. But it's coming back to me for a reason, helping women to get in alignment with, you know their gifts, that have been um the gifts that God has blessed them with, the divine has blessed them with, and recognizing and learning how to use them respectfully and responsibly with integrity, so they can, if we all want love. Some people be fronting because they're, in a bitter, heartbroken stage where, things didn't necessarily go the way that they may have wanted to within a relationship or connection. So they got some healing work to do before they're able to, you know, admit that they truly do want true love, real love, a healthy, loving connection, with, their divine counterpart, with another human being, a man, that is going to love them and respect them and honor them and cherish them and treat them the way that they're supposed to be treated. But before we can get there, it starts with self, the self love, the self awareness. You can't expect for someone to truly treat you the way that you desire to be treated when you don't start with doing that for yourself, and make that evident, that energy that I talked about. Like if you out here in this world, mismanaging your energy, mismanaging your gifts, your talents, your resources, or allowing, someone else or other people to do that to you, then, if a man sees you, he's going to look at you like, a easy prey. Like they're going to take advantage of you and they're not going to respect you and honor you and, give to you the way that, a true man of God is going to give to a true woman of God. Okay. So being realistic about, our expectations is important, making sure that if you want a healed, healthy, stable, secure, grounded, practical, man that loves God and, respects himself and, you know, has a desire to be in a committed, loving, harmonious relationship with a woman who is equally yoked, who matches him, okay, on a soul level, not on an external, superficial level, you have to be that, okay? You have to, embody that energy. You have to be that when nobody's looking, okay? When it's just you, okay, looking in that mirror, looking in that soul mirror, that has to be you, okay? You have to feel like you are the GOAT, not other people. You're not looking at other people's lives and comparing yourself and, what you have and what you don't have, what you should have, in comparison to other people. When you're doing all that, you giving away your power. You mismanaging valuable energy, time, attention, resources, all that. You need to bring that all back to you and, recognize that you are that diamond, okay? And you deserve to shine bright like a diamond, okay? Like other people can do that, in their way, in their world, with their connections and, their counterpart and all that. But when it comes to you doing that your way in your world with, what the divine has for you. Okay. Like I'm gonna use a real life example to kind of like emphasize what I'm also picking up here. The fact that I'll be 40 next year. I just turned 39 a couple weeks ago. And I've never given birth to a child, and I don't have any children, and I've never been married. Okay. Could have been engaged, on several occasions, but I'm not about to play with my life or anybody else's life like that, or time or anything. So, yeah, we look good together physically on paper and all that, but I knew at the time either I wasn't mature enough, you weren't mature enough, the foundation wasn't where it needed to be for a serious commitment like that. So I'm not even about to play like that or let you think that going to buy me a ring and doing all that is going to change that, or getting me pregnant or whatever and bringing a child into this world is going to make that happen any faster. No. So with that being said, that all came with maturity and self-awareness, of course, over time. But nonetheless, I figured it out and I wasn't playing like that. So with that being said, people who have their insecurities, who made certain decisions, for reasons that I would have never made them for. I'm not here to judge either. They looked at me as if it was something wrong with me, and still do. Like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? It's always what's wrong with me, okay? So, I let people process whatever thoughts and feelings or whatever they may have about me and so forth, figure it out in their own head if they can't come to me directly and just, have a conversation with me, get to know me. I'm really an open book. Like, even though I'm private, I'm not secretive. You know what I mean? I'm just private. So if people come to me like genuinely, you know, authentically, like wanting to get to know me or have a conversation with me, um, and build a genuine, authentic connection, potentially friendship, I'm not like against that. I'm just against when people have ill motives and they're trying to be manipulative and trying to just like play games to get stuff out of me type of stuff. I see through all that. My high priestess energy, I've been seeing it. I know how to play dumb. I'm good at that. I don't need to let everybody know that I know everything that I know type of stuff. So I could play just as dumb as you want to play. Okay. But if you want to be mature, respectful, and come to me like you got some sense, then that's how I'm a mirror for real. I'm mirroring you. Okay. With that being said, when people assume that I got life all jacked up or something wrong with me, I allow them to assume that, and I keep on living my life and going about my business. And then when they just go so hard and do so much to you know see, from whether it's trying to have smear campaigns and slander and gossip, about people to try to get people to agree with them, to see me a certain way, and they realize how stupid they look and how much they're exposing who they truly are and how they truly feel about themselves, and how jealous and envious and just a mess that they are, then that's what that leads to. And that has nothing to do with me. I'm not losing any sleep. So with me including that into this, scenario, that's for whoever needs to hear that. Like, don't waste your time trying to compare your life to somebody else's. Because when I tell you, I have my own challenges. I don't care what it looks like on this screen or what it looks like, when you see me outside or whatever. I have things that I have to deal with in life that are real too. I just understand, that everything ain't as deep as, the world wants you to think that it is. So, I handle life accordingly. If I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, I can't. I'm not about to stress about it. You know what I mean? Because I know stress ages you and have you, your body acting crazy and looking crazy, hormones imbalance, just hair falling out, just skin breaking out, looking exhausted and tired. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? I got a little taste and sample of that type of stuff. That's how I know about it, from going through that at periods of time. And then when I recognize like this is causing that, I tightened up real quick. F that. I'm not stressing about that, especially not no man or no relationship. Like, bro, you can go. Holla. It's nice meeting you. Nice knowing you. We not on the same page. You're not gonna respect me and this and that and that and this like you need to be and supposed to be. Then That's all it is to it. I'm not chasing nobody. I'm not, losing no sleep. Now, don't get it twisted. I've had my heart broken a time or two. I've been mismanaged emotionally. My heart has been, mismanaged. I've been manipulated in situations. That's why I have this level of wisdom and understanding of who I am and who men have the potential to be, and how to avoid those type of situations, especially when they show you the red flags. Don't ignore them, type of stuff. Like, I got experience with that. Okay. But at the same time, I'm not about to sit here and let, nobody tear me down, take my best years and just like ruin my life, type of stuff. Like, no. And not no friends either. Like, I done had, females that I considered like friends and my homegirls, my girls, and all that type of stuff, that showed me that they wasn't loyal, or they didn't have my best interests at heart, or they wanted to use me too, like, type of stuff, like, for what I had and all that type of. I've been there. I know what that's like, and I just refuse. Family. You know what I mean? I've had family as well. Like, I listen, honey, I'm experienced in this regard, and it's just like I love it because it's only helped me to become and be, the better version of myself by doing the healing work, and accepting people for where they are in their journey, as well as choosing to level up. Okay, choosing to recognize the tools that God has given me, the gifts that God has given me, the abilities that God has given me, and just using them and managing them, appreciating them, respecting them, as so, respectfully and responsibly. And subsequently, God just keeps watching over me, guiding me, and protecting me, like I prayed for him to do so. That's my prayers be, thank you, God. Like, if I'm in a moment of conflict, confusion, and I don't know how to in that moment um really move, forward, backwards, side, like, I'm just in a moment. My prayer is very simple. Thank you, God, for watching over me, guiding me, and protecting me. Thank you, God, for watching over me, guiding me, and protecting me. I will keep repeating that a million times if I need to, just so I can, get my mind where it needs to be, my heart where it needs to be, because I done been in situations where I'm like, I'm ready to, I'm talking about burn the whole bridge down. And I'm not I'm not a terrorist. Don't come for me. Okay. That's figuratively speaking. When you say you burning bridges, like you're not planning on going back towards them in relationships and connections and stuff, you know, realistically, I'm okay. I'm done with this connection. I don't want you trying to cross this bridge to, come back over here thinking that we can do this and we can, no. So when I say burning bridges, I'm talking about like that. Everybody calm down. But with that being said, in my mind, in my heart, I have been there, and I've taken the time to ask God to, is it that deep? Is that necessary? You know, and then after, I get regroup and regain my balance, and you know release some of whatever stress, tension, or frustration or disappointment I was dealing with that had me feeling like that. I recognize that it's not necessary to do all that. That would have been foolish. However, you could put a great deal of distance, and be firm about it, like, look, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing that. I'm not interested. Back up. And if you don't, you might get smacked up. If not by me, by my gangster ancestors, because the angels, they not gonna, smack you up. They little angels, they sweet. But my ancestors, they will whoop that ass. My angels will just, put little obstacles in your path or whatever. To be like, you ain't touching this one. Back up, stop. That their blocks are more on the softer side, but they still gonna be blocks. Okay, they might build a little barricade, or something like that. You know, but my ancestors, don't play with that one. All right, let's get a hidden truth oracle message. Since we have cosmic power, that divine love that showed up here, I wanted to also put here like the radical rebirth card. She has two cubs or baby lions, whatever kind of, animal that is here around her. I don't know. This card was crowning the cosmic power, so that's giving me this is like a past life connection. Okay, the soulmate twin flames that I pick up on. You have past life business. You ain't new to this. You true to this. You've been here before. I'm definitely getting here. I have all shades, from a very light, fair skinned woman to like, tan, medium, brown to, dark, God, let me show you. So this is about like all divine feminine energies, they all look different in the shades of, beauty, but they're all beautiful and graceful. So it's just like the message that I'm getting there is there's no need to, like I said, compare yourself to other people. You are beautiful, just the way that you are. And it's your responsibility to recognize that beauty within yourself, by doing that internal healing work. There's somebody out here for everybody, but so many people waste so much time and destroy their own lives by trying to be someone that they're not and latch on to, someone that is not for them. Okay. I love it. Look at that. I love you unconditionally. So that's just, what I was just saying. You are deserving of someone that feels that way about you. They love you just the way that you are. You don't need to change anything about yourself. You don't need to, lighten your skin or change the texture of your hair if that's not, what you want to do. And you don't need to, And this is coming from somebody who switches it up, wears hair extensions and all that. I do that because I'm in that industry, and I sell, you know, different looks, hair extensions and so forth, custom wigs, all of that. However, I'm not hypocritical in the sense of, telling people to rely on that type of stuff. If you love yourself enough and you know who you are, and without all of that, you can still show up in life the same way with the same confidence, then, that's what's important. But if you choose that you want to enhance, the way that you show up and look and, change it up a little bit and all that, that's your business. Okay. And having someone that loves you unconditionally, which is going to value you and appreciate you either way, is important because, honey, I've been doing this work for a long time, and I've heard too many women that have shared with me, they're in relationships and connections, or like their relationships with their significant other or spouse that's not going for it. Like, no, I need you to look like this consistently all the time. You know, I don't like that. Don't do that. I don't care if it makes you feel better about yourself. I don't like that. And I think that's unfortunate, because as women, we want to, you know, make sure that our significant other, our spouse, is happy with us and so forth. But if it's one of them unfortunate situations where a man is doing that to manipulate, have control over the woman, but then he's actually attracted to women who wear and do that other stuff, but he tries to hide it. That's trash, because I've seen that too. It's a don't wear weave, don't wear makeup, don't dress like that, but he got a whole fucking black book full of side pieces that do that type of stuff. I wish I had treated you better. Okay. Let me pull out some more, get some more messages, and tie it together before I elaborate on that, because that could be connected, but it could be, something separate also. I wish I had treated you better. Somebody may be coming out of a situation or a relationship where they thought the grass was greener on the other side, is what I'm hearing. They had some sort of radical rebirth, they got to see things from a higher perspective with the cosmic and celestial, business, celestial alignment and cosmic power. And they recognize your ability to alchemize, your creative abilities, your gifts, the things that they could have taken for granted. And now they wish they would have treated you better. And they recognize that the love that they have for you was unconditional. Now that could be the same situation or connection, or it could be separate. But I'm getting that a divine feminine may have, through her healing and, standing in her power and recognizing that, who she truly is, and not being afraid to put that on display, that, it could be one person or it could be multiple people that are recognizing, who she is, who she always was, whether she recognized it or not, and feeling bad, about how they may have, treated her. And, they may be telling you this, they may be thinking it or feeling it. They may want to tell you or communicate this. Okay, I know that I crossed the line with you. Okay, so someone took you for granted. They may have, been disrespectful and out here doing the most. I hope that you can, across the line, and I hope that you can forgive me one day. So this could have been somebody I knew. I paused when I said a black book full of, broads that look like who they would tell their wife or significant other not to look like. Like, that's real unfortunate, but it'd be a real thing. I feel you even though we are apart. Okay, so I hope that you can forgive me one day. So this sounds like it could have been a serious connection or relationship whether it been a marriage, a like living type of relationship, like a long relationship, like y'all done had some time in this thing together, and you might have put up with some disrespect, some foul behavior from this person or if this is multiple people, from more than one person. And now you're in some sort of glow up, you're leveling up, it's your turn to shine. They see you and they recognize it and they're feeling bad and they want back in, you know. And sometimes, I ain't here to tell people what decision to make when it comes to this type of stuff, whether that is to forgive and accept somebody back into your life, is levels to, the disrespect and the things that people do, in relationships. Like some things are forgivable while others aren't, and you have to decide, how much do you love yourself and respect yourself and how much you're not willing to, sacrifice or risk, reoccurring. And then you have to go back and do the work and heal all over again, whether it's, the person don't waste no time and it's within a couple weeks or couple months, later that the past behavior shows up again, if you accept them back into your life, or they wait a little while and it's like a couple years, a couple months, couple years type of thing where it resurfaces. You have to, recognize the red flags. You got to be able to, know yourself enough and, be honest with yourself. Like, what chances are you willing to take? How genuine is this person? Are they trying to come back into my life, or do they feel bad because they got caught, or do they genuinely, love me unconditionally and feel bad for their mistakes? They had some maturing to do. Maybe we both did, and we needed to do that separately, to be able to recognize, our self-worth and respect and all that type of stuff, to do this as respectful, responsible adults, this relationship thing. Okay, my life is not as together as it seems. So yeah, that could have been where some maturing needed to be done on their behalf. I wish I could take back my words. They may have, tried to degrade you, and disrespect you in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes that type of stuff can be not unforgivable, because the timing just wasn't right for us. Okay. Yeah, there was definitely some maturing and individual personal growth that needed to take place. I buried myself in work to forget you. They could have most definitely really cared about you and loved you and, wanted to have something with you, but because of their own healing work and maturing that needed to be done, they just weren't ready. The timing just wasn't right. And it's possible, with I love you unconditionally coming out first before all these other cards, it's possible that they could truly love you. But the question is, do they love themselves? Because one thing I know for sure, and I've learned that if somebody, a man or whatever, woman, whoever, is cheating and lying, and doing all this like foul stuff to their significant other, their spouse, who they're leading to believe that they're genuine, that they're all in, that they truly care, the cheater, the person who on the foul end, they the ones who lack self-love and self-respect. They're the ones who lack that. So are you willing to be giving yourself to, I don't know what kind of person you are in a relationship, but if I'm choosing to be in a serious committed relationship with somebody, I'm I'm giving my all. And that's why I don't just be jumping into relationships and considering anybody to be my man type of thing. Like, I don't play that because I'm not going, I don't like to do shit halfway. You know what I mean? Either I'm in or I'm not. Okay. So I don't want nobody playing with me, and I'm not about to play with nobody else like that. So with that being said, that's just me though. I don't know what everybody else do. If you want somebody that's toe dipping, trying to test the waters, trying to see if this is where they want to be and all that type of stuff, you know, those chances you want to take with your mind, your heart, your time, your attention, your health and well-being, that's your business. Okay. But I don't encourage it. Okay. I don't. I don't promote it. I don't recommend it. Because I don't know if you heard one of the things that I said was health and well-being. It's real out here. And you got people that's out here, lying to themselves, not loving themselves and not respecting themselves and honoring their own bodies and temples. And then, they just out here, calling themselves having fun and being a player and being the man type of thing, and think that they about to come back and lay with you because you just dependable. You always gonna be there, and they got that level of control over you or whatever. And you're gonna always open up, open the doors, open the windows, open them legs to let them back in type of stuff. That health and well-being. Okay, they bring in whatever they bring in from over there, throwing your pH balance off for starters, if nothing else worse than that, because everybody don't have the same diet and lifestyle that you have. Okay, and if you sticking it over there and that toxic box is doing what it's doing, whatever it's doing, and then the shower ain't gonna clean everything up. Okay. So when I say health and well-being, it's grown people business. I'm talking like that. Okay, we will be together again. Whether this is, what they're telling you, what they want, what they believe, at the end of the day, it's your decision. Okay. They could be very confident because of, in the past you may have stayed and forgave them more than you should have. So they have like a little, they have a little confidence, like, okay, she mad, she just needs a little bit of time to get over it. If I apologize and come correct or come a certain way, then we can do this again. So be mindful of that type of stuff too. But they are confident for sure. I'm starting to understand our connection. For some reason, I'm getting that this could be multiple energies. So this could be multiple people in your energy. Before we, as divine feminines, find that the one, or the one finds us, God shows us that this is the one. Sometimes you don't kiss more than one frog, before you get there. So with that, it could be that these are, more than one divine masculine, or I ain't gonna say everybody, it ain't divine masculine. These could be more than one masculines in your energy, and one of them is more divine than the other. One of them truly and genuinely loves you unconditionally, recognizes where they may have needed room to grow and be a better man for you because they just wasn't on your level type of thing. It happens, a lot of times women are more mature than men. But then there's also situations where it's just like you got an arrogant piece of human that, just wants you back because they see you doing you and being your best self, and they want to be a part of that. Okay. So the goal here, or the assignment here, is to, take that time to figure that out for you. If you need professional assistance to do that, or outside, you know, um, perspective, you know, get that. There's people out here, like I said, that's what they do. They help people through these types of um, decisions and gaining that type of clarity. Get somebody that is going to not try and spoon feed you no BS, and have you on no cycles, you know, in circles on a hamster wheel, heartbroken, feeling trapped, and looking crazy. I gotta change clothes. I forgot about that part. I'm sitting here like, okay, I got a little bit of time before my appointment, but definitely gotta change clothes. So let's factor that in. I want to eat because I'll probably be working later. All right, we got the Ace of Swords here. Okay. With the Five of Wands here on the bottom of the deck. I saw that, and the Ten of Wands. Okay, let's start here. So I'm getting an energy here where this Ten of Wands energy has been somebody that has been carrying a lot of burdens and weight and stress. They could have been carrying that physically as well, as far as like in their body, weight. They could have feel like they could have gained weight because of the stress that they've been managing. Their creative life force energy has been suppressed. Their confidence is low. They're just not satisfied with life and happy about some things that have transpired. This could be in the last few, I'm getting longer than weeks, so months, years. It could have been up to 10 years. Somebody has been trying to recover from some things that they have gone through. With this Five of Wands here, these little witches here, they have had a part to play in, this Ten of Wands, burnt out, exhausted energy. They have been, this could be a clique, a group of, witches, broads, just immature females, feminine energies I'm picking up, that got a lot of internal work to do. And rather than focusing on that, they'll rather, focus on having group chats and, just focusing on a drama, causing drama, gossiping, screenshot, and girl, look at this such and such and such, trying to tear down somebody's image, basically. Behind them, behind their back, though, behind the scenes, they're not bold, brave enough to, do it to their face. They doing all this behind the scenes or whatever. But this Ten of Wands, I'm picking up, it's potential that they have been taking the daggers that have been thrown at them, and they've been using them to, or collecting them, because they said, one day when I restore my energy, when I, am able to, change my situation, I'm going to use these wands, these daggers, these sticks, to build me the most beautiful log cabin you ever seen, or whatever, log castle, whatever. They're going to build something with it. Because she ain't gathering them for nothing. She ain't, breaking her back for nothing. And with the Ace of Swords here, that's the truth. That's the divine, you know, coming through with some sort of enlightenment, some sort of clarity. This could be a situation I'm picking up, potentially a work situation, okay? Some sort of community that someone could have been a part of, where they may have thought, a group of females may have been their friends or people that they could, talk to and, you know, be themselves around, like share information about, their life and who they are with, but they were really coming together separate from, you know, you or this energy or whatever, and using whatever you shared with them against you, plotting and scheming to make your life burdensome, probably potentially block you from opportunities for you to grow. Trying to block your prosperity, trying to, keep you stuck, you know. We got the Six of Cups here. So this could be some sort of, with that truth coming through with the Ace of Swords, it is supporting some sort of relationship dynamic, some healing, okay? So this could be a parent-child relationship or connection that is being restored by God and the truth coming out, for someone to see, where outside influences have had an effect on, contaminating, the emotional space or the mind and the emotions on a connection, okay? So someone is asking for forgiveness, in that regard, or just letting someone know that they love them. I love you unconditionally. That could be from the parent and child, or the child and parent. I appreciate you. You know, don't get it twisted. I know life has been lifing, but you have been over it, because that's what her shirt most definitely says. Can you see that? Over it. And, you know, I've seen you've been, taking the time out to heal, process your emotions and feelings, managing them respectfully and responsibly, becoming more emotionally intelligent and more self aware as a byproduct. You've been making better decisions that show that, and you could have handled, you know, situations and relationships, and whether it was friendships, the opposite sex, whatever, you could have handled things a lot differently than you did, but you showed your true power, your true strength by the way that you actually managed them. You took the time to pause, you took the time to put the phone down, and whether that was meditate, take time to pray to God for clarity, for the truth, for divine wisdom and knowledge and assistance, okay, and protection. So that the sword most definitely, I don't mention that often, but the sword is most definitely protection is also, and protection of the mind and the heart too. So, you've been doing that type of real work, and the only person or people that would know that are people that are present to be able to see that and witness that, so I'm giving you your flowers or these cups, to show acknowledgement that, even though you may be the child in the situation, that you are respected for, the work that you're doing. I find it so interesting how these cards came out like this because look at how, okay, this this could also be, like I said, a parent child, but this could also be anybody. This could be somebody who is a guardian, because you see an age difference here. That's a little child and that's somebody that's older. This could also be, I said, a parent, a guardian. It could be like a mentor or coach, who may be more mature, experienced, wiser, older, or something, or whatever, that has been working with somebody, a counselor or therapist or something like that. I'm getting also like people that work in like the realms of like CPS and work with kids and stuff like that. This could be a way to let the person that you're responsible for, that you recognize embodies this energy, letting them know that you respect and admire, and you're in support of them doing the work and their growth and so forth. I'm getting that too. I gotta get ready to go because traffic be retarded. But there's a cup being handed, and there's a cup being handed. That's a small little hand offering that cup. And we see when it's an ace, it's usually a big hand. The hand of God is, take up the whole card, okay? And the Ace of Cups looks like that too. Somebody was like, I don't want that. Like, I can't do nothing with that. I already got three of those, or had three of those. These could be relationships. These could have been opportunities. These could have been, things that things that someone thought was going to provide them some sort of fulfillment, and it didn't. It caused them like, disappointment, hurt feelings, a waste of time. And this is a person who I'm getting may know the value of their time, or they've come to that awareness, and they like, look, I can't do nothing with another one of those. Like, I done learned my lesson. I done gained the experience. I got that t-shirt. I got that book bag. I got that pen, the cup, the mug, like all that. I don't want that. Like, get out my face. We got the Seven of Swords here. This energy is definitely somebody like cutting through the BS. They like, look, I'm pulling all myself together, getting my focus, my strength, my clarity back, I'm putting it on, putting that shit on. Her outfit cute, her shoes is cute, her hair is cute. Like, yeah, them swords, them daggers that you broads or you haters, you whoever, envious, jealous, because men be jealous and envious of women these days too. That's another story. That's a whole other weird story. But whoever, they be clipped up with females like, I want to be a part of the hate divine feminine gang too. Let me get a sword and a dagger to throw too. And this energy like, okay, I see all of y'all. All of y'all behind my back. You can't say it to my face. You can't, So with that being said, I'll just use these to protect myself. So pull up if you want to. And everybody gonna learn better how to use their time, energy, and resources. We got the Two of Cups here with the Three of Swords and the Six of Swords, okay? So in this deck, the Two of Cups is, feminine energies. This makes me feel like, the energy within you, soul, like loving yourself, like self-love, allowing God to fill your cup. It could also be, only accepting and allowing friendships that are genuine with the same sex. So if you have, female friends and stuff, not just having people that you can party and go out with and drink and, do that type of, basic stuff with, that these are people that you know, if you have a desire to be better, do better, have better, and just show up in life, in your full personal power, that these are people that this is a person or a couple people, because it's not going to be a lot. If you got a lot of people around you, a lot of times somebody somewhere, probably half of them ain't got your best interests at heart. They just in your business. So recognizing, who is real, and making sure that you say, okay, you my dog, you my friend, you genuine, we in this locked in. Okay, I got your back the way that you got mine. And F them other broads, F them other people, them haters, them liars, them betrayers, them backstabbers. We don't need them. Okay. Because we ain't got time for this type of hurt. It takes time to heal from this. And if you don't heal from it, then you have other issues to deal with, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Okay. So the Six of Swords energy is, this could be mentally separating yourself from the confusion, the conflict, or it could be physically. You could be relocating across some seas, some lands, giving yourself a fresh start, recognizing that you tapped out with this over energy from this environment that tried to, rob you of your essence, your beauty, your grace. You were surrounded by haters and envious, jealous people that wanted to bring out the worst in you, and you was like, it's enough people in that place that I can't do nothing with that. I don't even want to be there. I don't want to have those reminders on a daily basis. So I'm out. Okay. Let me get one more. I said one more. And I did not do that on purpose. I can't wait to watch that replay to see how that flipped like that, because I can't make this stuff up. And subsequently, you're going to be an empress wherever you're going to go. Okay? You leveling up, boo-boo. And can't nobody stop you, because if they try to, you see that machete right there. Whether you use that machete because you got to in that moment to defend yourself, to protect, your present and your future, or your ancestors, or the divine, got to do it for you. You're protected regardless. So don't let them people think that just because, you started out, or you might have showed them that this was you, or whatever, this is the part of you that they saw, that was, lacking a little bit of self-love, maybe needed to do some, family healing, healing your connection, maybe potentially mother issues or whatever, if that was a thing, or just life experience, relationships and all that type of stuff, healing those energies or whatever. So you regain your strength, gain some wisdom, gain some tools, and you become unstoppable. They can't really mess with you like that. Okay. Look at that. These are the same energies. Okay. It's like, look, yeah, I'm sitting on my throne now, looking beautiful, graceful, full of wisdom, because the swords is of the mind. So that's definitely, some wisdom gained. You ain't about to be winning no battles and not learn nothing from them. Okay. So with that, that's within her. That's something that can't be taken away. Okay. Go ahead, Empress. Go ahead, Empress. If that's not how to end the week, I don't know what is. Like, beautiful reading. And I'm excited to see what, let's not forget where we started now. So, Empress, now that we know who we're talking to, all of this is you. These are different aspects of, because we know the Empress is, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, all in the upright. This is all of that energy, different representations of, you know, who you are and what you about. And your divine masculine knows it, and he about to show you that he know it if he hasn't already. Auntie. All right. With that being said, time for time for the other work, the other business. Okay, to get my undivided attention. I have a mature client that's a little bit older than me and a beautiful woman, and another client that's a little bit younger than me. You know, young lady. Okay. Um, got some ladies for the next few days. I love that. Okay. The males be cool too, but when I get to work with my ladies, I'm even happier. All right. So peace and love. You know, have a phenomenal, blessed, prosperous, safe, you know, weekend. And inshallah, we will do this again. Peace and love.